Hi, I'm Roger. I'm a financial advisor and an entrepreneur. And on my channel, I share financial tips and advice to assist you, yes, you, to be able to make better financial decisions. The video today is going to be looking at how to manage money in a marriage. Yes. Now, I was looking at some articles prior to doing this video. One in particular was an article on Investopedia, where they mentioned that 1 in 5, this is a study done in America, so 1 in 5 couples in the US at some time, would have had some discussion, some, well, I wouldn't say feud, but disagreement as it relates to finances. Right, that works out to 20% of the marriages. So it is an issue that needs to be dealt with. If you are planning to get married, it is not something that should be swept under the carpet, so to speak. You need to deal with it upfront. What I'm going to be doing in the video, I'm going to be looking at it from two perspectives. Not look at it from two perspectives, but I'm going to be splitting the content, the information, into two areas. I'm going to be looking at what you need to be discussing prior to the marriage, yes, and then I'm going to be I'm going to be sharing information, things that you need to be doing, discussing and doing during the course of the marriage. Okay, so let us jump right into the video. The first thing you need to consider before getting married is if your partner and yourself are financially compatible. And by that, what I mean is that there are persons who live at different lifestyles. There are some, for instance, who we would probably describe them as being, living, like a big or high lifestyle. They enjoy going out very frequently, parties, a lot of bling, as we would say, accessories, trips, yes. And such a lifestyle, it takes money. There are those on the other side of the spectrum, those who may be quite frugal, and then those are in between. Now, you need to be asking yourself the question, where do I fall? Where does my partner fall? Would be based on that, would we work well together financially? Right, we need to consider that. Next, the wedding. So the wedding, yes, when you're thinking about doing your wedding, you need to have a budget. Very important. You need to work out how much money it is that you're going to be spending on the wedding. You need to consider also, most importantly, what you can afford. I know that there are many who are saying that, well, it's a once in a lifetime thing. That is something else. And so they want to go all out. Nevertheless, you still have to consider affordability. Can you afford it? What's in your budget? Consider too that, I'm not saying by any means that you should do this, but really and truly to get married, the only thing that you need to get married is the person who is officiating the wedding, and I think 1 or 2 witnesses, and that's it. I don't even think you need to have a ring at the event to get married. Again, I'm not saying that you should go that route. I'm just saying, all right. So you need to give some consideration to that. If it is true that you are not able to afford the type of wedding that you would ideally like to have, consider that after you've been married, you can renew your vows. All right. Prenup, right? So these are some touchy stuff, prenup. So you're coming into a relationship and you may be coming in with particular assets. How do you feel about coming into the relationship with particular assets, and for instance your partner not having anything. These are some serious issues that needs to be discussed. You need to consider these things before. Okay, these are things that can destabilize a relationship. And even too, there are situations where you have issues in the marriage, and so it is best if these things are sorted out prior to getting married. Okay, so a prenup is something that you may want to give some consideration to, based on who you are, based on your culture, probably based on your religious convictions, persuasions. You may not be inclined to do that, but let us be real. We live in a real world. All right. Next, you need to look at your bank account. So most likely, you're coming into a relationship. You would have an existing bank account. Will you be adding your partner's name to your bank account? Will you be maintaining separate bank accounts? Will you be having a joint account or joint accounts? These are things that you need to consider. All right. Where these things are concerned, personally, I'm looking at it from the perspective that the Bible speaks to the fact that the two shall become one. Yes. And I don't know. The fact of the matter is that I wonder if all of this is getting on the mic. I mean, there's some loud music on the outside there. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that, persons get married, they sleep in the same bed, they are intimate, yes, they purchase a house together, they have children together. But when it comes down to the money, they don't mix the two. I just find it so odd. What do you think about it? Probably you may want to drop something in the comment about this point. But what do you think? What do you feel about that? Do you think that couples should have a joint account, or they should keep their accounts separate? Tell me what you think about it in the comment section. So you need to work that out. You need to discuss that before. Transparency is very important. It's very important that you be transparent, that you be open as it relates to things like debt. Yes, how much money do you owe? How long will it take you to pay off and all of these things? Yes. And as it even relates to how much money you earn. Yes. There are partners, individuals who do not know how much their partner earns. And there are persons, yes, who they keep it a secret from their partner. Here again, I am saying, if you're in a relationship so intimate, if it is that you do not trust the other person, then why would you have chosen to get into this relationship? I'm looking at it too, even from a business perspective. When you think about a business, like a partnership, as a business structure, where there is transparency and openness, right? And just in business in general, right? That is something which is a part of the business process. Transparency. But when you get into a marriage and you are to be one, you're to be one with this individual. But here it is that there's non-disclosure. All right. So that is something that you need to discuss before. Also, you need to look at who will be paying the bills. So in some situations, what you find is that the bills are split. In other situations, it is that it may be, for instance, one partner who pays all the bills and the other partner is just free. Right? So you need to discuss this. And again, I think it is a little bit odd. As I said, you are partnering with this person. This is supposed to be a lifelong partner. Yet, there's a separation, as I said, as it comes on to relates to the finance. All right. Coming down, children. How many children will you have? No, this is something that needs to be discussed before. It needs to be discussed before because children cost money. Also, I came across a study which was done in London, yes, recently, and a figure of what 700 and something thousand pounds was quoted as what it represents the lifetime expenses of an individual. In the US, I came across a recent study too that I stumbled upon when I was doing some research for this topic, where they made mention to the fact that it takes what $232,000. $232,000 is what is incurred to raise a child in the US to year 18 years old. $233,000. Okay, serious money. So children take money. They take money. They're very expensive, especially when they get on to high school, and not so bad, but tertiary institution, tertiary studies can be very expensive. So you need to consider how many children you're gonna have before, and also look at how many years apart you're gonna be having them, right? And you need to factor that into where you are now in your stage of life, your finances, and all of these things. All right. So that is looking at some things that you need to discuss before the marriage. Now, during the marriage, it is important. So, well, after you would have gotten married, yes, you need to consider updating your legal documents. Yes, you need to update your legal documents. So you need to update the bank accounts. Yes. You need to update your will, right? If you have a will, and you ought to have a will, where your other legal documents are concerned. For instance, your bank accounts, your insurance coverage. You need to consider the beneficiaries, changing the beneficiaries on these documents. All right, so that is something that you need to give some consideration to. Next, so I'm talking about stuff now that you need to be discussing and doing during the marriage. You need to define your financial goal. So what is it that you intend to achieve? All right, so if you look at a business, businesses have goals. Organizations have goals. Families should have goals too. So you may find, for instance, a business, and they may say, okay, they want to achieve a profitability of X amount within the next year, or the next 2 years, or 5 years. Families too should have goals that they work towards. So what is it that is going to be your financial goal? What do you want to achieve financially over the next 5 years, for instance? Okay, you need to look also at, will you be going the entrepreneurial route? Will you be having, like, setting up a business especially to supplement your income? Yes. What about retirement? When do you want to retire? How much money do you want for your retirement? What type of lifestyle are you enjoying now, which you wish to maintain during retirement? And of course, to be able to do so, to be able to maintain the same type of lifestyle, you certainly need to be working towards that. No, right? It will not happen overnight. All right. Children, I'd mentioned that before, but also you need to consider, yes, too, the education fund, having an education fund for the children, and you need to start early. Children's education can be pretty expensive. All right, so you need to work out. You need to look, for instance, you have a newborn, and typically, if you're going to school them through to university, they'll be exiting university somewhere between 21, 22, 23, thereabout, depending on their course of study. Right? If they're going to be going into medicine, it may be a little bit, because it's going to be lengthy, it's going to take a lot of money. So you need to start working on that from now. Just a tip here where that is concerned, you may, and this will take some serious projections. So you may look and say, okay, in 15 years or in 18 years, my son or my daughter will be going to this particular university, and it will require, let us say for argument's sake, $10 million. You perhaps can look at it in terms of how much money you need to be accumulating each year towards that target, and then you can break it down further, how much you need to be doing each month and so forth to work towards that, achieving that target. All right, so that is what you need to look at there. Budget, you definitely need to be doing a budget with your family. And yes, this is something that you need to be doing monthly. So you need to be looking at how much money is coming in, the expenses, and especially in an environment of inflation. Yes, you need to ensure that you are doing this and doing this regularly. And of course, you'll be fitting in your goals into this. All right. I know it is a particular challenge, especially for a particular gender. I think for males, based on what I have experienced, right? Things that I have picked up over the years and so forth. There tends to be an issue, right? Where this is concerned, on the side of males. And I should say too, I'm speaking to the men now, who may be watching the video. The thing about it, is that you are supposed to be the head of your household. Yes, you are supposed to be the head of your household. And whatever happens in your household, well, put it this way, nothing should happen in your household without you knowing about it. Right? So you are like the CEO of a company. Yes. All right. Next, future proofing. So you need to future proof. So I'm talking about stuff that you need to be doing in a marriage. You need to be future proofing. You need to ensure that you have your investments. Yes. And I do have a video looking at savings versus investment. So you need to be investing. You need to identify investment opportunities, investment facilities to be channeling funds into. But also, most importantly, you need to have insurance coverage, especially if you are a breadwinner. You are taking in a significant amount of money into the household. It is very important that you have an insurance coverage. The fact is, let us say, let me pose two situations here, two scenarios. Let us say there is a couple, right? Couple. So A and B, they're a couple, and their household, they're bringing in, let us say, $200,000 for the month, and God forbid, one partner dies. How much income will be left there? And presuming that is your sole source of income, them working they're 9 to 5. How much money will be left there? Precisely half, $200,000. No, if it is that household consists of, say, children. Yes, they have children. They may be, 2, 3, 4 children. How will that other partner manage going forward? Will they be able to maintain the same lifestyle going forward? And so that is why it is important. Okay. Additionally, sometimes there are accidents, there are critical illnesses, and especially where there is a critical illness. And I can speak to this directly. I've had a personal experience where this is concerned. It can literally suck you dry financially. if you do not have a critical illness insurance plan in place. If you have a partner who has a terminal illness and there is nothing in place, because it means that, and to treat a terminal illness, in particular something like cancer now, is very expensive. If you do not have something like a critical illness insurance coverage, then it means that everything will have to come out of pocket. Now, do you have the type of financing or finances to be able to support that? And while dealing with that medical condition, that adverse medical condition, well, if it is medical, it must be adverse. Bear in mind too that the bills have to be paid, the children have to go to school. Yes, you have to live the same way, and they have the medical expenses to pay. Right? So that is something that you need to give consideration to. Preparing a will, yes, very important. Very important. So you get married. Well, as a matter of fact, we all need to have a will, because that is what will dictate then how one's estate will be dealt with, handled in the event of the person passing. Very important. And especially you have a family. You do not want to deprive your family of particular benefits, or what should rightly go to them in the event of you passing. Bear in mind too that as it relates to our jurisdiction here in Jamaica, if one dies without a will, then it is the state that steps in and determines how the estate will be distributed. Okay, so you have to consider now, do you want that? Do you want to put your family through that? And I will have a video. I'm working on a video where I'm gonna be talking about estate planning. All right. Next and finally is to look at creating generational wealth. So very important that we have something that we leave for our children and grandchildren and those to come. Yes, think about it. You perhaps may have been the recipient of some gift, perhaps some parcel of land or whatever assets, probably some stocks, and certainly it would have advanced your life, advanced my life. Right? And certainly as a parent, you would definitely want to manage your situation in such a way, and the situation of your children in such a way that they will become better off than I am. That is how it's supposed to be. All right. So work on creating generational wealth. All right. So this is the final point: generational wealth, and this will include making investments into assets like real estate, for instance. All right. No, and I should say that one of the beauty of marriage as it relates to wealth is that when you have a couple coming together, there's the advantage that your combined resources can help to push you further than if you were to be by yourself. Okay, not necessarily always, because it may be that you are single, yes, and your income may be such that it's quite substantial. Okay, but especially here, like for instance in Jamaica, as it relates to even acquiring real estate, you may find it to be quite advantageous, more advantageous if you have your partner, two you can pull together to acquire certain real estate. All right, so that is it from me, looking at how to manage money in a marriage. Now I hope you found value in the pointers in this video, and if you did, I'm gonna invite you, please go ahead, smash that like button, yes, and also hit that subscription button if you have not yet subscribed to my channel. If you find the content to be valuable, that if you think that it adds value to you, please go ahead. I think it's only fair, reasonable that you hit that subscription button so that you can get more content which will add value to you. Okay, and also remember to hit that notification bell so that when I upload a new video you will be notified. And of course, share this video and other videos so that other persons too can benefit from the content. All right, so my name is Roger, and this is it from me for this video. See you again in the next video. Take care.